Alright guys, so we've got Lazarosvus on Malta in the purple trunks, and in the blue trunks we've got Carp, also on Malta. So welcome to Kings of the Old World, Qualifier 1. Sorry, I've just got to fix my scroll speeds. Bugged. Many wonders of AoEIIIDE. Microsoft. Third or fourth biggest company in the world. Still can't make their games properly. I mean, what? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No hate. Thank you for sponsoring this tournament. So both our players heading over to these trading posts. It looks like Lazarosvus is already on one, Carp's getting on the other. So pretty similar starts. Both our players even skipping the coin initially. Just focusing on wood for the most part. Just getting enough food so that they can keep that villager production going. So Laz is off to a good start. He's slightly ahead. Carp on the XP here. He's going for the house now. Working on that treasure. 100 XP out of that one if he can get it. Carp. Trying to take a ranged engagement against this witch hunter. There you go. I think he's waiting on that cooldown. So perhaps he might as well have finished off the witch hunter and just used it on the next treasure. So there are a couple more around his base that could be quite useful. Lad's now going to get a little bit of XP out of this. Oh, is he deciding against it? Oh no. Just tried to, bug out a couple of hits there. He can wander straight on top of the treasure. But I mean, it takes up so much time. Wonder if he's just best off putting the time into more scouting. In that instance where it's just the one wolf. When it's 2 or 3, it sort of makes sense because they are going to chip away at your explorer for a bit. But when it's only 1, I mean, man, wolves die in like 4 hits. Why bother? So Carp is actually shipping the additional churches. Laz is going to just go towards his age 2 with his shipment in the bank. So already seeing a bit of a difference in the builds. This will be a nice treasure for Laz to get. Or Carp. Finding a little bit smaller treasure, but it's also a nice gold treasure. So Carp's 2 churches. Just going to put towards the front side of his base. Getting that market now as well. So this replay, our players are actually playing with the mod enabled. So we've got the ability to see what shipments they've sent. Click on the bills and I can see what text they've got enabled.
Bonjour.
So Laz has only shipped villages at this point. Carp's shipped vills and the temple building. Laz is holding on to the other shipment for now, but I'm wondering if he was best off sending the villagers as soon as he could, rather than delaying slightly. So Carp's going to send German Tongue to get access to his settler wagons from that, while Laz is just making use of the fact that he can get on these eco techs. He's got place of mines in the way. He's going to get steel traps. He's already got hunting dogs and the first wood upgrade, while Carp for now hasn't fit in any eco techs just yet, but he has got that commandery. So he's going to be able to start training settler wagons out of that. Carp able to get one of Laz's treasures here. So Laz, double hospital. Carp's double church is not really going to be able to field any units. Now Carp adding hunting dogs, getting a hospital of his own at the back of his base. I think with Malta, if you're going to be playing around hospitals but at a deficit of infantry, maybe it is a good idea to put them, you know, behind the rest of your base, behind your town centre, like Carp's doing, because it's going to give him a nice defensive buffer, even though Laz is going to have a nice crossbow count.
Yes?
Is Carp going to be able to get this explorer here? It's microing these crossbows because Laz wants to try and get Carp's explorer. And Carp just going to let him fall. There's a bit of XP to Laz there. The Carp has wonderful XP gen with these temples, with these double churches. Ship wood now, and he is trading settler wagons. He can only get 6 of these at the most on Maltese, but still it's a nice economic boon to have. 4 vils up over Lazarosvus at the moment. And Laz has also shipped spice trade, so he's got some really nice food gathering here. Carp's really just ship wood for the time being. And these pikes are going to be quite useful here because until the crossbows engage them, they can deal really good siege damage against the buildings. Much better siege damage than the crossbows actually will. A rough engagement, and Laz has to pull back slightly. He's perhaps got slightly too many pikes and not enough crossbows for the occasion. But he actually is going to be able to take these churches extremely quickly if Carp isn't careful because of this. Like, he has so many infantry to tear this down quickly. He'll lose 1 or 2 pikes, but now he's got more of his own bows to back this up. And he can just send the pikes in on the other church now. So Carp is going to largely lose his churches now. But ooh, this is a nice card from Carp because 8 crossbows going to be able to repel his opponent now because Laz is the one struggling for the crossbow count. One of the crossbows being picked off by the pikes there. Well, the pikes nowhere near as useful in infantry v infantry, of course. Mainly just there to try and snipe buildings and just ward off a transition to cavalry out of the commandery, because we are going to see 3 hussar on the way for Carp. While at the moment, no cavalry just yet for Laz. Carp going to try and get on these Vicents and the copper mine.
Yes.
He's now got some hussars to back this army up, but there is a good number of pikes here for Laz, so he doesn't want to stay around in the fight for too long. Let's have some of his own pikes just to try and engage melee v melee, but ooh, another hussar going down. Laz going to take out another church. Work away at the settlers. Carp just looking for an opportunity to go in, hoping Laz overcommits here. He's going to get some militiamen, so these guys are going to be a bit of a boon to this force. Carp actually only going for 4 bills in the TC because he wants to maintain his eco behind this. But Laz is actually quite a way down on score now, so perhaps he's best off trying to snipe Carp's trading post. Because for now he's not able to really get the break on his opponent. Commandery of Laz now going down. Both our players having shipped crossbows and pikes in the meanwhile. All this kerfuffle has been going on in the mid-map. Or should I say actually right in front of Carp's base. Carp just trying to see where Laz is at. He might be able to pick off this explorer. Well, Laz is looking to try and scout a little bit with the explorer. He's on full health, so he can actually disengage with ease, but Carp may be looking to try and go for a bit of a raid here. He's just bringing the cavalry up this time. And Laz not going to be as careless with his explorer this time, because if he gets snared by those hussars, he's going down. So Laz shipping the archaic soldiers hit points upgrade in the boat. The real boon to that is that being Maltrid also, you know, all your shipments are going to add 2 unit hit point percent. So it'll stack on top of all the extra hit points that you're getting on your units. It's just a shame that their base hit points are so low that it doesn't really account to much. Or Carp. 90 pop. Laz is in a small pop lead here at the moment. But he's actually a little bit down on score. The players just dancing. Are they going to look at going to Fortress? Carp is. Or Laz still sitting in commerce for the time being. Carp's actually shipped a politician's card. Cheaper hospital upgrades. And age up faster. This other Church of Carp's now going to get picked off perhaps. So Laz having managed to take 2 churches of its opponent, but now this big engagement, Carp is ready. A few of the villagers also going down. Carp really running out of the pikes, so Laz is slowly running out of the pikes, so Carp looking for an opportunity to jump on his bowman with his hussars, but Laz adding some of his own hussars. So now Carp really without enough melee here. Going to make use of his great concave. So Laz pulling back a little bit. Carp's not eager to engage. Just getting a second town centre just to make pushing into this base extremely difficult. Gonna try and go for an eco lead over his opponent, but Laz, 3 villages ahead at the moment, so it's going to take a little bit before the second TC really catches him back up and lets him overtake his opponent economically. So Laz trailing on score, but I think things are closer than they seem. His pressure so far has been really solid. And Laz is going to have to look at expanding outwards to get resources that are under threat. So Laz's going to maybe try and take out a couple of the houses and see if there's any vills around here. Because if you take out the houses in the market, I'm going to be forced to replace them eventually. That sentinel's being added. These guys quite handy against the hussars. So Carp 110 pop, Laz 111. Pretty even heading into this fight, I think, in terms of the army size. We are fighting on Carp's doorstep, so he is going to have a bit of an advantage with unit reinforcement, and he's got some pikes heading in here with their vet upgrade. And get onto the hussars of Laz, who shifts across to try and minimize the damage and keep attacking the crossbowmen. So both players largely out of a front line here. Looks like Laz has a lot more crossbows, but now he's the one without, I guess, any counter to cavalry here. Carp shipping fort, but he's got goons now. Doesn't want to overstay with them though, because that's a hefty crossbow count in his doorstep. Town center's getting a couple of vills garrisoned in them so they can get an attack or two off. They're slightly outrange everything else on the field at the moment. A fortress on the way for Carp. Laz just chilling, getting tripped to Jerusalem. He's going to get 1400 resources back for this. Making great use of that. It's almost at, getting back 1500 in total. Is he going to go for a fortress here of his own? It's that fort of Citadella. That fort of Carps going up. Going to make it very tough for Laz to keep pushing in here. So Laz is going to go to Fortress Age while this is going on. Villager of Laz is being picked off there, trying to sneak a bit of food off his opponent. The Carp's now going to send as much of this hunt back into his base as he can. I think Laz accidentally triggered it the wrong way there. So commandery going up here for Laz, but the village is going to fall. He's not going to get it finished. He's going to want to try and finish it with another one he's got here. The Carp's again going to be able to pick her off. Commandery's not going to finish. Sort of combines the stables and the tower in the one. Laz is down to 85 pop. Carp is just over 90 at the moment, so this has really paid off. He sniped a couple of vills out of that. He's up to 40 vills to his opponent's 38, so Laz I have to look at getting a second town centre, finishing his Fortress Age and whatnot behind this. Laz is saving a card, try and get something out in the field really impactful. We'll get to see what very shortly. What are you going to get, big fella? Laz's commandery gonna get slowly whittled down there by Carp. Carp getting balance of powers to equalize his, well, has already gotten balance of powers to equalize his resources. Training a fixed gun. So this is, as the name says, it's a fixed bombard that costs population. And now Carp. Third town centre going down as well, just to protect that.
Yes.
And up his villager production. Well, Laz. His Fortress Age has kicked in. He hasn't actually shipped anything yet. He's just housed for the minute. And all that fixed gun's going to work away at his commandery. Laz trying to snipe the trading post if his opponent will let him, but Carp won't let him.
Hey.
So Laz looking to try to take a fight here. Carp's Cav quite a way back at the moment, but he is going to get the goons in, and these guys do quite well against the Hussars. But fixed gun, great splash damage against the crossbows, and Carp's targeting the biggest pack of them he can. To try and get 3 or 4 of them at once. So it's the fixed gun able to snipe 3 crossbows at a time, but there's not much of an army left other than crossbows for Carp at the moment, so he is eventually going to have to fall back, but not before Laz is a little bit concerned about his own crossbow ball, and it's going to be hard for Laz to disengage now, considering the range of that fixed gun. Ooh. Carp takes out the commandery there. Bit of a blow to Laz now. Laz is banking up these shipments. He just needs to get some units out with them. Here we go. He's queued up both pikes and bows. It's amazing how in this mirror it's mostly been a fight with archaic units, but in a fortress spot. That town centre for Carp is just the explorer building it actually. No wonder it's taking forever. It is training, saving on worker build time to keep the gathering up. Carp and Laz starting to bank up a little bit, but nothing drastic. We both a bit antsy that there might be a fight soon rather than an easy transition to industrial age. This is nice for Carp. He's going to force a lot of vills back here. For Laz, he might be able to get 1 or 2 because they're quite away from a town centre at the moment. So Laz is actually going to run them back towards the army. And the pikes are going to be able to ward off the Hussars, but they're going to prove to be a bit of a pest. Laz is going to have to split his units up to try and catch the Hussars in the end here. Another villager being found there by Carp, so he's going to force it to garrison. He's going to lose almost all the Hussars here and get 1 of them out in the long run. So Laz, nice defense. Oh, he does pick him off in the end too. So Laz is really starting to level this game. Carp, a fixed gun, only proven to be so useful. It's nice zoning, but it is costing him a little bit of pop behind all this. Maybe he needs to look at putting one over here perhaps as well. Fixed gun going to land a nice shot or two here on Laz's unit, so he's going to pull back. His attempt at this trading post a little bit full, but he's be able to take out the outpost in the meanwhile. Carp using balance of powers to equalize his resources there. Fixed gun now under threat by a couple of these hussars, but I don't know if it's enough. Carp just patient, using his own hussars to try and screen for the fixed gun. And Laz is now using it to, Carp's now using it to focus on Laz's crossbows, although everything's now inside minimum range. So this is great for Laz. He's going to be able to take out the fixed gun sitting inside minimum range like that. He's getting the XP back his way.
Yes.
Carp trying to finish a depot here. If he can and this goes off, it could be massive. It does finish up. So Laz has to evacuate as quickly as he can. He's got snared units, so he's got to be very careful here. Depot goes off. Not much of a hitch for either player. But now we've got the fort here. Citadella. This is going to repel Laz. For the meanwhile, holy shit, we're already up to 24 minutes. Now Laz looking at taking out that town centre of Carps. He's got a nice army for this, but he doesn't want to engage under the fort if he can help it. Even with this nice unit advantage, he's going to throw it away if he takes the fight under the fort. He's better off trying to poke away at his opponent's base rather than trying to fight under the fort here. It's going to cost him so much because he'll be constantly just dropping an extra crossbow or two. So Carp's town centre go down, but because he's got his army split up, he's going to lose a couple more units to it than he should. Again, he's going to be fighting under that fortress, even though this is great pressure and he's going to snipe some vills. He's doing it under the fortress, whereas if he's doing it over here, it's costing him nothing. So Laz, he is in the prime position, but the fort, I think it might be just enough because Carp is using it to focus down all the infantry, not worrying about attacking the hussars with it because he knows he can get instant one-shot kills on the infantry, or at least bring them, a few of them low at once. Ooh, two of them going down. So Laz, he is, like I said, he is in the driver's seat at the moment, but he can't deal with the fortress at the moment. He's got no form of siege, not enough fire throwers, and no falconets or mortars to do anything to it. So he is whittling down Carp's forces, but Carp is training just enough to sustain through all this. Carp having to go on all these mills, and that forward side, these forward side ones costing him a little bit. Perhaps better off having some up the back here, but for now he's able to sustain through this. Laz is on 54 vills to Carp's 39 though, so Laz, again, definitely has a foot forward over his opponent. He needs to, again, he's clearing out as much of the map as he can. So it's good of him to get that trading post off his opponent, but he probably needs to try and attack the base or try and push over this other side rather than just coming to a halt because he's run into the fortress and he doesn't have the units to just blindly throw them away under it again. I mean, that wasn't a good initial fight and he sniped a lot of vills, so he's put Carp behind, but Carp is not down without a fight. He's still got the 2 TC production, so he is going to be able to catch up to his opponent. He's got the commanderies, he's training all the settler wagons, whereas I don't think Laz has used the settler wagon line, the German tongue. He's ignored it, so at least on that front, Carp will always be able to catch up, and you know, he's going for a third town centre once again, so he's willing to play a little bit greedier to get ahead economically here. Carp and Laz Just chilling and making army for the time being. Laz getting all the trading posts. 57 to 47 villages. But he's also having to do his mill transition now. So even though he's controlled much of the mid-map, we've run out of hunts now between our players. So Laz having to get on that mill eco.
Bonjour. Il giornata taiba.
Both our players have the seed drills upgrade. And Carp having gone for Vittoriosa, so he's got cheaper town centres and cheaper villages as well, I believe. Laz hasn't taken the upgrade just yet. Taken the upgrade shipment just yet. I don't know what he's going to do here with his next shipment. We'll just see very shortly. So 59 to 53 vills. Laz having, gotten himself map control, but like I said, that vill lead that he's got himself has slowly slipped through his fingers because he's now sort of played passively and tried massing up an army again behind this rather than just continuing to pressure with what he had and denying this last hunt of Carp, who's been lucky to get this. And saying that there's a lot of idlers there for Carp, so he's going to have to get them onto the wood. Let's start another mill in production or two. Getting Jagiellonian Legacy. Don't ask me what that upgrade actually does, I have no idea. Didn't actually say anything. So Carp not able to get the trading post. Walling himself in, and he's got a good number of Dragoons to take this fight. Laz, compositionally, I think, is a little bit behind his opponent. Although Laz has a good 140 pop army, so he's still slightly ahead on that front, but fighting under the fort, again, is something he does not want to do. This fort is basically an indestructible falconet, so he's not wanting to take a fight with all this infantry under it. He needs to get some of his own siege if he can here. And Carp is really thinning out the pikeman count. The Carp's up to 64 vills, Laz is up to 69. But again, the crossbows fighting in range of the fort. It's really proving to cost him so much in this game. I think he would have had this game won by now if not for that, and if for the slightest bit more pressure on these wood gathering vills over here on this mill. And again, it seems he's actually really forced Carp into a defensive position. Carp not wanting to overextend with the goons, just using them to take pot shots at the hussar. Other player with any pikes at the moment. 71 to 62 vills. So Laz is denying vills out of these town centres and any gathering around here as well. But through this Carp seems to have enough to defend. They've got to shut up about the fortress. And now Carp looking at moving out on Laz the first time in a little while. He wants to try and bait Laz into overstaying with the hussars if he can, because then the goons really pay a huge dividend. Another hospital on the way there for Carp. It's up to 4 of them now. Liza's going to look at adding an artillery foundry now. Getting some Falcons. Villager being picked off there by Carp. Oh, and this foundry may just squeeze out these Falcons just in time to be a nice saving grace for Laz, who's starting to slip in terms of score now. Oh, this is going to be quite a nice shot for Laz, all picking off 5 or 6 crossbowmen at once there. So Carp having to back out. And Laz playing, again, very forward and just restricting the amount of room that Laz has to work with. Eventually, it's going to be quite tough for him to have all these mills down and protect everything at once, especially when he starts needing to get estates, because he is going to start running out of the gold at the moment. In fact, he has run out of gold. So yeah, he's having to add estates, adding one last mill as well. Has Carp even got enough wood left to get the estates that he needs? So Laz is really the only one with access to gold. There's just one copper mine left. Laz having to add his own estates, but he's got plenty of wood to actually throw down all the buildings he needs from here. So 77 vills to 82 in favour of Laz at the moment. Carp still has a nice score lead though. So 2 treasures left. What's that add? 60 wood, and what's this the same? 50 wood. And Laz making use of the 3 trading posts to try and catch back up here. In terms of the score, Carp, great use of the churches just to generate that little bit of XP over his opponent all game. Nice defensive maneuvers by Carp all game. Laz just biding his time, adding another commandery. He's going to get some more Falcons, not for now. So Radzetsky March, spawning Hussars. Did he even get that?
Ready.
A really nice boom and push take here for Carp because he's at 200 pop now. Gonna try and work away at this wall. Laz well placed to defend the hospital so he can try and catch up a little bit in terms of army size, but Carp's really outboomed him at the moment here. And Carp is through. He's got a lot of villagers to threaten at the moment. Laz has an impressive 92 vills. Carp up to 87. Again, a lot of them are going to be under threat. These crossbows of Carp are going to get picked off really quickly by Laz's main army right now. It does slow down the Falcons from chasing the main crossbow ball. Carp trying to raid as best he can on Laz's base, but most of the villages are pretty safe. Laz just down even, 88 to 87 in the vill count. Carp gonna try and snipe the Falcons of Laz here if he can. So he may be able to get one. He's going to stick around and try and focus down a second. If he can get the second and the third, it's going to be really rough for Laz to defend this here. All these villagers coming out now just to try and gather once again and tank a couple of shots. Oh no, Laz is just trying to evacuate them. Well, Carp may have done it from here. So he's tried a couple of times in this game, but now he seems to be well ahead of Laz for sort of the first time in the game. He's going to go to fort. He's going to go to industrial behind this, sorry. Oh, but Laz, nice massive crossbows. I didn't see a lot of them there. Laz is going to be able to clean up Carp's army here, but Carp is going to transition to industrial. Still streaming plenty of units across. Laz down to 78 vills to Carp's 87. Laz, I think, might have a bigger army count at the moment. So Carp's going to try and find this other base of his and pick it all off. Found some of the wood gathering villages. Laz doing a good job at actually mopping this up. Surprised he held as well as he did there, considering Carp's mass up to 200 pop. Laz now having to defend all over his base. Carp's focusing down those bills, but he is throwing away a lot to do so. Carp, having taken industrial age, going to be able to get an aggressive fort this time. And now it's Laz who's having to play the defensive game and weigh up his decisions with what he loses while playing defensively. Carp's army, another one being cleaned up here. Carp still has a bit of a score lead in spite of all this, so he's continuing to raid with these hussars and try his luck. He's up to 93 vil pop. Laz at 75. So Laz may struggle to both age up and continue to try and max out behind this with the villager discrepancy now. And a lot of his eco having to constantly garrison and ungarrison. So Carp seems to have Laz on the run for the minute. But Laz does still have a healthy army size. He's got these crossbows in to support, so he'll be able to clean up these hussars in no time.
Commandment, yes.
They are slightly stronger for Carp than they are for Laz at the moment. Again, more hussars in to harass these mills. Some villages at the back there that aren't garrisoned, so Laz is going to have to look at garrisoning them now. Again, Carp very active around the map. Laz down to 73, 72 vills and a lot in garrison at the moment. 21 of them. He will pick off a lot of these hussars. More of them raiding his mills. Maybe he needs to try and wall this up or put a tower down or something. So Carp buying himself plenty of time and space to try and max back out and finish what he started here. He's getting that fort. So he's getting another 2 forts behind this. You guys remember 2 Fort from TF2? Man, what a map that was. Laz again having to garrison a lot. He's trying to get his industrial age so he can get his fort spam going on, but Carp's not going to let him get there. Laz really just needs to. Carp really just needs to leave a single unit focusing down each of these buildings. But in saying that, Laz using a crossbowman to great effect, even though they're not the natural counter to these hussars. He's got that many of them. And they are mostly beelining the villages that Laz can focus them all down. Over here we've got some crossbows along with the hussars. Still raiding the eco of Laz. So Carp playing a very high tempo raiding game through all this. He's even sacrificing more units in the middle and sending more off to the side just to maximize his bang for his buck, just to contain Laz's main army here while he chunks away the eco over this side. So Laz now going industrial, but he's only down to 57 vills to Carp's 105. So he's starting to struggle again on that front. Commandery is going to be able to take units out, but Carp's going to try focus down some of the other structures instead. And if he can get this town center, he really puts Laz behind here. So Laz needs to look at taking a favorable engagement somewhere here, just to buy himself a bit of space. Laz coming in with his hussars against a mostly crossbowman, crossbow hussar army. So he should be able to clean this up, and he's bringing his own crossbows, but he maybe needed to leave them at home or get some pikes because there's some more hussars on his main town center again. He's having to garrison 20 plus villages here. Over this side he's got another 15 in garrison, so Laz really doesn't have a lot of eco ticking away. Well, behind all this, Carp's eco is looking great. He's at that 160 pop mark. Laz is really struggling for eco, and this main base, this starting town center, all these vills being killed. 26 in garrison over here. These guys back at work once again. Defensive fort for Laz. This is really going to help him out, but his TCs are so spaced out that, and his eco so spaced out that the fort's only going to cover so much. And now Laz back against the wall. What's he going to do here? He's got an impressive force of all these crossbows though. And bearing in mind he does have that archaic bonus on them over Carp's crossbows, to make up for the fact that he's at the deficit with the hussars in terms of shipped upgrades. So Laz cleaning up this force for Carp, but Carp is just beelining the other town center once again, forcing another 15 vills in queue. Another 25 or so over here, just getting back to work once again. Laz at 57 vills to Carp's 104. Carp just continuing to try and choke out his opponent economically from here. Crazy good raiding and multitasking from here. And sending again some more crossbows in just to be a pain in the ass while he tries to sack the town center. Laz's TC. Things are looking dire for it. I think Carp's just going to sacrifice the units to get it, because it'll be worth it. So he will. He might even just focus down the vills rather than worrying about the fight. And over here, once again, more order hussars streaming in on Laz's base. It's going to be a real pain in the ass for Laz. He's just dwindling further and further behind while his opponent's eco is looking great. Forward chopping here for Carp, while Laz really running out of places to actually gather wood safely. He's really running out of food right now. He's managed to clean this up, but now these mills, there's not really anything for his villagers to garrison in, and GG, well played. Carp takes the game.